So there's a new trailer out for the Insomniac Wolverine game, and I was 100% correct about everything.
Oh, because you're from the future.
So recently, we've seen some Marvel's Wolverine footage. There's a lot of cool stuff it has to offer, though I'm cautiously optimistic for the game. We'll have to see when it comes out. Well, I guess not actually, because apparently we already know it's bad.
There is no media nowadays that's even worth your time. I'll say that with a straight face. Just go back and watch and read something from before the year 1990 and you'll be hit with so much quality compared to what you have to deal with nowadays. And that's the problem. People want to give in and compromise and say that the Wolverine game or the Bond game is not woke slop and it's not garbage and it's not trash. Instead, they're all masterpieces, when in reality that's a byproduct of having to put up with so much shit for so long that you just give in to something that's semi-decent.
Okay, but you're taking it to the opposite extreme and assuming things are just bad based on flimsy information. You do this all the time. We've seen it over and over again. You may be right. Some people may just latch onto things being masterpieces after putting up with so much crap. But you're really not any better. You're just as bad for saying things suck when you barely know anything about them and a lot of your reasons are just bad.
And that's the worst part. I wouldn't even call any of these games semi-decent.
Based on what? What's broken about the gameplay? What's broken about the story? You're gonna have a hard time substantiating this because we barely have information to work with. But we'll zip our way through your rambling to see if you give any reasons.
Before we get onto the trailer and all the woke shit that's contained inside of this ball of spastication, I just need to set the record straight. Last time I said that I played the Wolverine game before it came out. A lot of people didn't believe me and said that I made it up, which you have your right to do, but you're kind of being a moron. Because anybody with a brain and anybody who was actually tracking this game before it came out knew about the hacked pirated build of the game that was released on Twitter and online.
Are you seriously building a case against the game based on a stolen build from it from over 2 years ago? How is this a serious point? Of course the game isn't going to be good when it's not finished. Because, you know, it's not finished. They've had years since then to develop the game. This is such a desperate reach that I can't believe anyone would think this is a valid basis for the quality of the game.
And I'm not advocating for anybody to go search that out, so I don't condone any of those actions, but let's just say it was extremely easy to get your hands on it there for a week. Now if you're a moron who didn't know anything about that and didn't know that everybody and their mother could play Wolverine there for 2 weeks, then good for you, you're retarded or something. But for the rest of us, you got a glimpse inside of the game and what it was actually gonna be like.
Yes, you got a glimpse of an unfinished game that has years of development left over. You really got him this time.
And what that was just a piece of trash that was another Spider-Man game with a Wolverine skin on it.
Oh yeah, because Spider-Man's the only character known for using stealth, and he's definitely known for jumping at people to stab them.
And to be honest, I don't know what they're gonna do in the final product.
So you don't know what you're talking about. Got it.
But I'm gonna tell you the truth right now. In that original build, there was playable parts as Jean Grey, and she looked just as ugly and bitch-faced as she does now in this brand new trailer.
I'm sorry you didn't like how a character's face looked. Do you have a point now?
Let's see if we can find the one that got away. Redhead.
So first off, just a few things. Why does Wolverine sound and look like a mental retard?
Why do you sound and look like you haven't showered in 5 years?
Pretty simple question. Why the fuck isn't he wearing Wolverine's classic suit? Can somebody just please tell me why we have to keep getting these Christopher Nolanized suits, which don't look anything like the actual character? Wolverine isn't Batman. He doesn't have access to multi-million-dollar equipment.
Sure, it's not exactly like the classic suit, and it doesn't have to be your taste, but he still looks like the character. The colors in the mask resemble Wolverine. And where are you getting the idea that the suit was made on a multi-million-dollar budget? It's just basic tactical gear. That is nowhere near $1 million.
There's none of this bullshit from the trailer where there's little green Ninja Turtle retarded looking mutants.
What kind of criticism is this? You don't like the mutants looking green? That's your criticism? These are just weak points. You're not giving substantive criticism, which is what I talked about earlier, where because you're unsatisfied with what you've gotten before, you're just willing to throw anything and just assume the most negative outcomes for no reason.
And the same black chick, which is in every single fucking video game that comes out nowadays.
Okay, and this isn't a problem if she gets the job done.
This Wolverine isn't acting like anybody ever tortured him in the Weapon X program. He's not acting like he suffered for years without ever having claws, and just being an outcast who was always kicking people's asses or drinking.
The reveal trailer literally shows Wolverine drinking at a bar alone after beating up a bunch of guys. As for how his past affects him, you're gonna need more than simply saying it doesn't. They very well could convey these ideas. Show me a scene where he should be affected but isn't. Oh wait, you can't because you only have access to the trailers, so you don't even know how this will be executed in the story.
Now this Wolverine looks, acts, and talks like some sort of Redditor from the modern day.
And you don't?
He's running around chopping people up in this really gory way, which is just way too over the top. And in no Wolverine comic was it this goofy. So I don't care how much gore or set pieces this game has, it's bullshit.
Wolverine is willing to kill and his powers would result in really violent action. I don't know how you could possibly think this criticism makes sense. I mean, he has blades sticking out of his hands. Of course it's going to get really violent.
See if we can find the one that got away. Redhead.
Oh yeah, let's cover that for a second. The way Wolverine sounds. How do you know what he sounds like? Are you schizophrenic? How can you hear what a comic book character sounds like? Anybody who ever says that is outing themselves as a tourist larper. Wolverine was based off of Clint Eastwood directly.
What is this point? Just because he's inspired by another character doesn't mean he's replicating that character. So many things are subject to changes. I don't think every actor for Wolverine is obligated to sound like Clint Eastwood. That's a dumb standard. The voice simply needs to fit the character and sound natural, and you haven't explained why it doesn't. But it gets even worse when he tries drawing a comparison.
I know what you're thinking, punk. The strongest metal known. You gotta ask yourself, do I feel lucky?
I know what you're thinking, punk. But being this is a 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world, and will blow your head clean off, you've gotta ask yourself the question, do I feel lucky?
Now here's the thing, where the fuck is that with the brand new game?
This comparison is already dumb. Wolverine obviously sounds more animalistic and growly in his delivery. Clint Eastwood's delivery is much softer and less of a growl, so not even the cartoon you cited sounds just like him. But what's also funny is that Wolverine in the trailer clearly has a growl in his voice as well, which matches Wolverine's character for the same reasons it would in the cartoon.
Let's get you guys out of here.
Are you a superhero?
Lock it. I'm Wolverine.
There is no Neon City, dark lighting, smoking femme fatales, and Logan isn't some badass womanizer detective-like character like he was in every single original comic.
Okay, just throwing things you want to see isn't valid criticism, especially since you don't know the full extent of what the game has to offer. Also, he blatantly does detective work in the opening scene of the new footage.
Let's see if we can find the one that got away. Redhead. Might be our only lead.
We shouldn't even call this guy Wolverine because in reality what he actually is some Down syndrome retarded ripoff of Logan who's getting cucked by Jean Grey. And this trailer has a lot of shit going for it that just proves that it's trash. Like the ripped off set pieces from Uncharted for the 50th time in gaming history. These set pieces were cool back in Uncharted 2 or Metal Gear Solid 3. I don't need to see them be reused in every single video game.
Simply because something has been done before doesn't mean it's bad to do again. If the game straight up copied and pasted Uncharted, then I'd understand your position more, but all you've highlighted is that he engages in combat on top of vehicles, which is broad enough to be a shared element rather than a complete copy, especially since he's not doing all of the same things since he's a guy with metal claws and not a guy who needs to shoot weapons at people.
And I don't need to see the same Arkham combat from Spider-Man and the brand new Bond game and Red Dead Redemption, which is copied into everything.
But that's not Arkham combat or ripped from the Spider-Man games. After one leap, he goes flipping around to attack his enemies. That's not something you can do in those games, and his moves are blatantly different since his abilities aren't the same, and he doesn't have to hold back whatsoever.
And the same bald black chick who keeps showing up in everything and ruining it for some reason.
Yeah, she really ruined the game because You saw her in the background for one shot.
My bigger issue is Jean Grey, which I can just tell immediately. You can say, oh, you don't even know, the game isn't out yet, but I'm just gonna make this prediction and I don't really give a fuck.
Riveting methodology. I'm just going to assume something is true without any basis, because that's how conclusions are naturally met.
This Jean Grey is gonna be a feminist hag bitch, and I can tell it straight away.
Why? Because a woman is on screen? Because she has powers? What's the reason?
You just need to look at the build that was already released, and just look at the leaked script.
The thing is, what you're asking of us requires us to illegally look at an unfinished build to support whatever you're saying. I can't say I have much faith in your word, because you tend to make really bad points and blatantly get information wrong. Like when you lied about the Punisher in the MCU, you admit to jumping to conclusions based on little information and screech woke over basically nothing. Like when you lied about the Punisher One Last Kill being anti-white propaganda based on a random clip you saw online. So I really don't think I believe you. I think you're actually just that spiteful.
Without getting a cease and desist letter from Insomniac, let me just say that this story has already been exposed for being woke garbage. Jean Grey is the boss and Logan is a cock who doesn't look or sound like Clint Eastwood. He doesn't say one-liners like Dirty Harry or the original incarnation of Wolverine from every single comic.
So in order to have this information, assuming it's correct, you'd have to check the leaked content to see for yourself. So either you're admitting to committing a crime, or you're running with a narrative without checking if it's valid or not.
Good job.
No, instead he's gonna try to say something cool, but instead sound like a retard.
Where are those mutants? Good luck, kid. I'm Wolverine.
Okay, so what was wrong with any of those lines?
And the entire internet is ripping apart this game. Even woke people who are left-wing are realizing why the fuck is Jean Grey so ugly. And the funniest part for all the people defending this and eating up this corporate slop is that they know nothing about the X-Men or Wolverine, because nobody's really asking for Jean Grey to be overly sexualized in the game, even though that's what people are implying. If you don't like the way that Jean Grey looks in this game, or the way any other new female character looks in video games, then you're some incel freak, when in reality all people are asking for is for these characters to not look or act like a bitch.
Not only do you never cite an action taken by the character that's supposedly bad, but you also don't explain what's wrong with how the character looks besides throwing insults. It's just childish. You don't have to like the face, but if your only argument against the design is that you don't like the face, then I'm not sure why anyone is obligated to take you seriously.
It's pretty simple, and the same thing kind of goes for real life as well. The funniest part about this case is that people are acting like the X-Men is some big woke franchise, and that every single comic has been the gayest thing ever, supporting BLM and trans people, when in reality it's kind of the opposite way around, and anybody who's actually read the original comics knows this. The X-Men were never a civil rights allegory, and a lot of the original stories don't even focus on that stuff.
Damn, one search and you're obviously wrong.
Anybody saying that they are an allegory is lying to you and is a fake fan.
Says the guy ignoring explicit statements made by one of its creators.
And also, anybody saying that a character like Jean Grey shouldn't be sexualized is a complete moron who knows nothing about the X-Men. Because do you even know what franchise you're talking about? The groundbreaking, most best-selling comic of all time, Jim Lee and Chris Claremont's X-Men from the 90s, sexualized every single character who appeared on the page.
Oh my god, who cares? I'm playing the game to slash through a bunch of bad guys, not drool over a bunch of characters. This isn't fundamental to making a game. What kind of criticism is this? How does this make the game bad?
And that's one of the major reasons why it was legendary and why it sold so well. Because that's what people want. They want to see Logan and Gambit smoking and riding motorbikes. These exact characters that you're trying to say are some bastion of wokeness, like Jean Grey or Rogue or Psylocke, are extremely powerful and they're not in any way weak. But in the same time, they look and act like women. You know, the thing that a lot of these people have forgotten. So I laugh in the face of anybody saying that these characters shouldn't be sexualized in any way whatsoever.
My response would simply be, who cares? This doesn't matter. It's not fundamental to making a good story. It's not fundamental to making a good game. I can't believe this is an actual criticism you're making in this video. Why should anyone be obligated to take this rant seriously when stupid points points like this are being made.
Everybody with a brain is waking up to the fact that this game is slop, and so is everything else that Insomniac put out. Which is extremely true, because it says here the official plot synopsis is that there's no such thing as the X-Men, and instead the mentally ill leftists over at Insomniac are making up their own gay shit, instead of taking from any of the comics, which would guarantee a 10 out of 10 game.
I really don't see how this makes the story bad. If you want to say that the history of the X-Men is inaccurate, okay, I don't know how true that'll be, but that doesn't speak to how well this is executed in the story. The first Insomniac Spider-Man game receives a similar criticism that Peter hasn't fought Doc Ock in 8 years, which I also find to be a dumb criticism, because that has nothing to do with how good his character is in the story, nor does that damage the world building in the game. And that game proved that having inaccurate history doesn't mean the story sucks.
This guy here said something great, which a lot of people didn't really want to admit, that the way that Marvel's Spider-Man 2 kind of adapted Kraven's Last Hunt was terrible. That game was legitimately one of the worst things ever made by man. Kraven's Last Hunt, in my opinion, is one of the best things ever made by man, and is a piece of art transcending Spider-Man and Marvel.
While Insomniac Spider-Man 2 had a god-awful story, don't pretend like you give a damn about Kraven's Last Hunt, when you were literally dismissive of Spider-Man comics outside of the Lee and Ditko run.
That's one thing I'll say. I'm not a Spider-Man expert. I haven't read every single era and every single comic, but I have read the Steve Ditko stuff, which I love. Any person that knows anything about comics knows that the Steve Ditko run is the only one really worth a shit.
Got you, fuckface.
The only response these mentally ill idiots can come back with is saying that you don't have a problem with it when Steve Blum or Nolan North or Troy Baker is in every single game, but you have a problem with Deborah Wilson. I can't imagine why. Fuck Deborah Wilson and fuck you. It isn't some big plot of racism. It isn't some big conspiracy theory. This chick sucks. Why is she in every single game?
You didn't actually refute the tweet. All you said was, why is she in every single game, when the point of the tweet is that you can say this about numerous other actors, yet nobody brings them up. You didn't contend with that at all.
When you play one of the legendary games from the master Hideo Kojima and you see an actress scanned into the game, it's worth it because Kojima uses them well and in a way that's actually meaningful. And it helps when the actress or actor is a really cool guy or some supermodel. But instead, Deborah Wilson is some bald black chick who keeps on bringing in politics into the story.
What politics? She's in the background for one shot. What's political about that?
There isn't some secret plot of racism. People are just sick of this bitch.
And you haven't given a reason outside of apparent politics that you never cite in the video.
And this is just what I'll end the video on here. Being anti-woke has got to be the most miserable hobby. Everything angers you and you can't enjoy a single piece of media. We haven't gone by a week without those people melting down. An insane level of sensitivity.
That person is correct. The amount of things you complain about makes me question how you can enjoy anything under your garbage standard. You complain over basically nothing, as I've shown time and time again, as have many others.
It's more like an insane level of retardation and a lack of backbone out of fucktards like you. These type of people are the exact problem in every single aspect of the world. They want to stop questioning authority. They want to stop questioning the government, no matter what political party it is.
No, I'm happy to question those in power and the media we're given. The problem is that you latch onto non-issues and they become the basis for your meltdowns. I don't know, man. That makes it a little hard to sympathize with your cause.
In reality, you should call out every single new piece of corporate slop for being garbage.
But you don't have actual standards for what's garbage. You just decide they are and convince morons to agree with it.
Insomniac's Wolverine is woke garbage slop. If you haven't read the comics, you're not a real fan. And if you got a problem with anything I said, go fuck yourself.
I'm actually impressed by how bad this video is. Now, I've had my fun clowning on this guy in the past, but I never imagined his argumentation would get this bad. Okay, maybe close to it, but I actually lost my mind in the latter half. Hopefully the Wolverine game is good. We'll just have to see when it's out. That's all I have for now. Thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Be sure to check out my other videos as well, and I'll see you all later. Goodbye.